Miss Boone from Alternatives Youth? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. We also have Kaylee from the Chicago Women's Health Center, and I'm gonna let Kaylee introduce themselves.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Kaylee. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based here in Avondale in Chicago, and I am the Communications and Volunteer Coordinator at Chicago Women's Health Center. Got a little bit more information about myself in my presentation, so I'll just leave it for them.
Awesome, thank you. And we also have Aisha from the IDPH, Illinois Department of Public Health. And I'll let them introduce themselves as well.
Hello. Sorry my camera, like I said, I have a double screen, so you can't decide to focus. My name is Aisha Price. I'm the recruitment specialist here at Illinois Department of Public Health. Recruitment is fairly new for Department of Public Health. We're starting to get out there and building those relationships, so thank you, Laura. I also have my coworker, I'll let her introduce herself, but we're excited. I saw a lot of fields when people are introducing themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany Coons. I too am the recruitment rep here for IDPH. I work alongside with Aisha, and I look forward to meeting you all and working with you all in the future.
Awesome, thank you. And we also have the CDC Chicago quarantine here, quarantine station, sorry, Tanisha, and I'll let Tanisha introduce themselves.
Hey y'all, my name is Tanisha. I'm a quarantine public health officer at the Chicago Quarantine Station at O'Hare Airport in Terminal 5. I also have my colleague with me, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I'm also a quarantine public health officer here at Chicago Quarantine Station at O'Hare Airport. Happy to be here.
Thank you for being here, both of you. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so as you all know, recruiting timelines is something that oftentimes students are very concerned about. When is the right time to start applying? And that's something that you might get a little insight today on, but it's definitely something that varies. So depending on the area that you're planning on going into, I always recommend that you reach out to some of your network, reach out to some of your peers, some recent alumni, some people who are currently in the field to get more accurate information. Of course, I'm here as well as a resource for you, but keep in mind that public health is so vast and it intersects with so many different areas in the workplace, right? We can be talking about public health in research. We can be talking about public health in government, in consulting, in food development. I mean, it's just very broad. So something to keep in mind and something to think about as you are applying for opportunities or considering volunteer opportunities. Keep those things in mind when you're networking with people. Ask them more intentional questions about, you know, the job search process or what things you need to do to prepare for a career in that area. We have a wonderful platform called Handshake. For those of you who are new, you all have access with your net ID. And this is also the place that employers will be posting a lot of these upcoming opportunities. So if you want to, we can meet one-on-one and I can walk you through everything. There's also a kind of step-by-step guide on our website. But all you have to do is type in UIC Handshake and just go and explore it. Students use this to find volunteer opportunities, and this is also the platform that you're going to be using to schedule an appointment to meet with me or to anyone in the career services offices. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm going to hand this over to our first presenter. But before we leave, I want to make sure that everyone has access to our post-workshop assessment/survey. I will also include the link to this on the chat box, but if you want to pull it up on your phone before we start the session and have it on hand, please feel free to do that. Okay. So I will stop presenting here. And I'm going to hand this over to our first presenter. which is going to be the Chicago Women's Health Center.
Great, thank you so much, Laura.
course.
Lovely to hear everybody's introductions and to read all about the folks who are here in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen? Everything looking clear? Awesome, thanks so much. So as I mentioned, my name is Kaylee. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm here from the Chicago Women's Health Center today. Our mission at the Chicago Women's Health Center is to facilitate the empowerment of women, trans people, and young people by providing access to health care and health education in a respectful environment where folks pay what they can afford. And so before going into a little bit more information about the health center and our history, I'll talk about how I got to this position. So as I mentioned, my name is Kaylee. I use she, her pronouns. I'm originally from Evanston, Illinois. So when it came to looking for work at this stage in my career, although I technically am not from Chicago, growing up in the area and spending a lot of time in the city, I really wanted to be in a position to give back to my community. So after graduating college in 2017, during which I majored in international affairs and minored in ethnic studies with a specialty on reproductive care on a global scale. I moved back to the city and started making my own steps towards a sexual health and public health related career. And so I started doing some continuing education, including some work at the Institute of Sexuality, Education and Enlightenment, as well as some freelance and independent contract sex education and research work related to improving the health outcomes for marginalized communities and sexualities. Throughout that time, worked in the service industry to make ends meet. At one point had 4 jobs and then finally made it to the point where I noticed that the health center was hiring something that aligned with my specialties and interests. And I've been working here for a little under a year. And I've been working for a little over 3 years at another nonprofit called TASHRA, which provides continuing education and research information for mental health clinicians who are looking to treat folks who are members of marginalized communities. So the Chicago Women's Health Center was founded in 1975. We were born out of the feminist health movement, which emphasized serving the immediate needs of communities while ensuring that folks feel empowered within their healthcare and work to eliminate the harm, violence, and lack of agency that's often experienced by many marginalized folks within the healthcare system, including women, people of color, folks with disabilities, LGBTQ+ folks, just to name a few. A big part of the vision that helps to make this possible at the health center is the fact that we approach our care from a comprehensive and holistic perspective that makes sure that all of our services are applied on a sliding scale. Not anyone is turned away based on their ability to pay. We have continued to grow in the last 48 years, serving over 6,000 participants and providing over 5,700 visits and direct care services to folks throughout each year. Just as we believe that people are experts in their own bodies at the health center, we also believe that people are experts within their own finances. And so we have a self-determined sliding scale here at the health center, providing folks resources to use to make sure that they're making an educated decision about how much they're paying for their care. Our current priorities at this stage are focusing on mental health care, trans health care, and sex ed based on the immense need for those services within Chicago and larger communities. A big part of what makes the health center special is our model of care. As I mentioned, we believe that people are experts in their own bodies and we're just partners in their healthcare and their health journey. All of our visits average about 45 minutes to 1 hour in length so that there's a maximum opportunity for folks to receive as much education and as many treatment options as possible. And a few of the words that you see up here on the screen are some of the most foundational elements to our care. I was originally introduced to the health center as a client back in 2019. And it was the first time that I'd ever had a care provider ask me for consent before touching my body in a healthcare circumstance. And it kind of changed my life. And consent and education are pillars to the care and the model of care that we provide at the health center. We provide a variety of services at the health center, including sexual and reproductive health services, which is our oldest program, founded with us in 1975. We provide trans healthcare services since 2008, although trans folks have been a part of our communities since our origin, just using different language. As many people know, Those communities evolve and we evolve with them. Our counseling program was founded in 1989 and engages with the impact of trauma and systems of oppression with our clients. Our outreach and education program, which provides comprehensive sex ed to over 20 schools throughout the Chicagoland area, was founded in 1988. And that is serving folks 4th grade through adulthood. In 1983, we launched the first alternative insemination program in the Midwest that was specifically for lesbians, bisexual, and queer couples, or single women of any sexuality, and trans people. We also have an integrative health program that offers a variety of modalities that are complementary to other forms of care, as well as just entirely alternative treatment options, as opposed to Western care, which we see dominating a lot of the healthcare spaces here in Chicago. And these options include nutrition counseling related to intuitive eating, pelvic floor therapy, acupuncture, bodywork, and massage. And these are all also provided on a sliding scale, which is something we're particularly proud of because a lot of these alternative healing modalities are often quite expensive and unaffordable for folks, specifically within marginalized communities. Who we serve speaks directly to the theme of this expo today in terms of underserved, underrepresented, and marginalized communities. We see that 64% of our clients identify as LGBTQ, and then 32% of our clients identify as trans or another gender expansive identity. 68% of our participants are people of color, and over 60% of our participants are either low income, uninsured, and or underinsured. Our services are based immediately on the needs of our community as communicated directly with us. All of our clients and participants are invited to fill out surveys to evaluate our services and let us know what it is they need now, in the future, and what they think that their other community members could benefit from. There are many ways to get involved at the health center. A few of those are internships and volunteerships. We have a variety of volunteer programs. As volunteer coordinator, I would be the person for you to reach out to about that, although I understand this is a job expo. We have administrative, clinical, and special skills volunteer programs, as well as academic year and summer internship opportunities related to development, communications, and counseling. So in terms of career opportunities at the health center, we are not currently hiring, but we do expect to grow. As I mentioned, we're a 48-year-old organization, and we have only seen growth within our staffing over the years. So while we do not have any formal hiring cycles here at the health center, I can tell you that the average hiring process is about 1 to 1.5 months long. And we do make sure to post those immediately as they come up on our website and across our social platforms. So if you are interested in learning more about when we might be hiring, I would highly encourage that you head to our website and join our mailing list or bookmark our jobs and internship page. And then just for reference, we are a nonprofit organization that is continuing to grow our capacity. And so while we do not use hierarchical systems within the health center to talk about how our jobs relate to each other, we recognize that some work involves more intricate market value than others. And so in an effort to be transparent with you all, I chose a coordinator salary, which is also my salary as an example for our payment here, which is $41,600 a year. Great. And so I had the opportunity to meet with our development team at the health center in order to pull together some notes and some tips about what we look for in job applications and hiring processes within the kind of work that we do. And so firstly, our development director shared something that I felt to be really helpful, which is within someone's application, whether that be their cover letter, their references, or their resume, does the why shine through? We find that folks who succeed at the health center and within larger nonprofit public health work do so because they want to be doing that work. They want to be at that organization. They want to contribute to those movements, and they have an individual care and initiative to do that. And we find that care and initiative are the two biggest drivers of helping someone stand out. Can I understand why you want to be a development coordinator, both because of your expertise and because of your personal experience? That would make you stand out a lot more. Additionally, within any sort of public health sphere, attention to detail is incredibly important. So that means formatting, really reading those instructions. This is incredibly important, regardless if you're doing direct service care or admin work. It's something that will truly set you apart from a larger stack of cover letters or resumes. Additionally, thinking beyond being qualified. What does your experience look like? And then how can you apply that to the role? An example I like to use is one of our communications interns did a lot of work at the Shed Aquarium, and based on work that they did aggregating data about tadpoles, they were able to convince me that they would be a good fit for a communications intern at the health center based on the way that they could articulate the way that that experience benefited their communication and writing skills. The last two things that I'll mention is previous involvement at the health center. We find that a lot of folks who are volunteers or who just are a part of our community in a larger capacity do end up joining staff if that is their goal. Due to the collaborative and personal nature of our work, we find that it is easier to make your way into the community if you're already dedicating some of your time and energy to it. Lastly, as I've mentioned, while we think that passionate and intrinsic motivation is important to the work that we do at the health center, or more largely in serving underrepresented and marginalized communities within public health, it's also equally important for folks to actively, and when I say folks, I mean like staff and employees, to actively advocate for themselves and address their own boundaries within their workplace culture. Specifically doing this work of nonprofit work, public health, serving underserved communities, we don't believe that any one person should have to sacrifice their well-being in order to strengthen someone else's. And that's something that we find is very easy to maintain and prevents burnout when you are actively advocating for your boundaries and your needs within your workplace. And that's something that we really look for in a strong candidate. And I'm sure that other employers will have many other details and tips for you related to applying for work. I just wanted to share some of our personal takes, and thank you all so much for listening. I look forward to meeting some of you in a breakout room.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. Does anyone have any questions for the good of the group? I mean, you can definitely ask Kaylee direct questions during the breakout rooms. She's going to be in room 2, but any questions as of now, burning questions? I have one question, if you don't mind. So what are some levels of exposure or responsibilities given to those who are volunteers?
It's a great question. So there are different ways that you can participate in volunteering at the health center. And one of the easiest distinctions I can make is we have folks who come on site regularly, so like in-person volunteers, and then we have remote volunteers. So I'll give an example of a project or task for either position. So a lot of our folks who are on-site volunteers come on a weekly basis for about 2 hours, and they help to contribute to our space. So whether that's admin work that needs to be done in that space, whether that's physical care that needs to be provided to the space, they'll contribute to that. So an example of that would be, we recently received a donation of dozens of menstrual cups. And so we decided that we would give those away for free in our bathrooms at the health center, because menstrual cups are expensive. They're like $30 to $45. But unfortunately, the packaging that they came in was incredibly gendered. It was very pink, it was very women-centric, and that does not represent all of the people who we serve at the health center. So one of our volunteers, in incorporating those free resources into our bathroom, also took the opportunity to make signs that said, like, pardon the gendered packaging, these are for anybody and everybody who wants to use them. And then an example of a project that we've had some offsite and virtual volunteers do is we keep a list of referrals, including like valued providers and organizations throughout Chicago in the event that we cannot provide the care that somebody is seeking at the health center. And so a lot of our virtual volunteers will help to digitize those lists, make sure that they're up to date, and that we're consistently keeping as much information as we can about those referrals so that we're sending people to places that are as safe as we can ensure them to be.
Awesome, thank you. I believe we have another question. Jamie?
Yeah, thanks, Kylie, for that presentation. So you mentioned that you're not currently hiring. Does that include for volunteer positions and internship positions? And are internship positions only advertised at certain times of the year? How does that work?
Thank you so much. That's a very helpful clarifying question. So our volunteer wait list, as you can imagine, many people want to do this work, especially following the Dodd's decision and a lot of the things that are happening in the country over the past couple of months. So we do have a volunteer wait list, but that is assessed quarterly. So about every 3 months, and our fiscal year starts in September. So we usually evaluate closer to December and then again in March, June, and so forth. So if you are interested in volunteering, please do reach out and I'll make sure to provide you with as much of a timeline based on where we're at in that cycle. As far as internships, our development and communications internships are, we invite applications starting in February of each year, and then those are rolling until those positions are filled. And then another detail I'll add is that we've seen a variety of folks in both of those positions. My most previous academic year communications intern was in her MSW program at DePaul, whereas my current communications intern just finished their first year of undergrad at U of C. So depending on what your academic needs are in internship, we do our best to fit those based on what we provide. Thanks for a great question.
Wonderful. Anyone have any other questions? So we are going to go ahead and share the space with Aisha from IDPH.
Can you see my screen?
I can. Thank you.
All righty. So again, we're from Illinois Department of Public Health, Brittany and I. So this is our recruitment section, and recruitment at IDPH, like I mentioned before, is new. It's not even a year old yet. So we're getting out here and trying to meet some people so we can recruit more graduates. So what is IDPH? Illinois Department of Public Health. It's a government agency. It's in charge of keeping you and all those around you healthy and happy. So as you know, COVID, you saw, that's where a lot of people know us from, is COVID and monkeypox. That's how they associate us, but we do more than that. Even when you go to a swimming pool, when you go to those public pools, to the water parks and that, we're the people that approve that pool to be safe enough for you and your family to be in. So we have plumbers and things of that nature. Even when you drink milk, some way, shape, or form, you have dealt with public health, whether it's your birth certificate, even when you go to the hospital, all of that's associated with public health. Public health was organized in 1877. It's one of the oldest agencies here at here in Illinois. Our headquarters are here in Springfield as well as Chicago, but Springfield is really the main headquarters. We have 7 regional offices. We have 3 labs. One is up in Chicago, and we are at about 1,100 employees. We have over 200 programs. Department of Public Health is quite large because of what we're responsible for. Like I said, food, water, just you can see some of the dot points here, your vital records, newborn screenings. Anytime a child is born, they have to get screened through us. Women's health protection. We have HIV unit, statistics, nursing home, the license, anything of that nature. Now you see our logo everywhere you go, you'll see it. Next is our vision. It's quite simple. Communities of Illinois will achieve and maintain optimal health and safety. Our mission is to protect the health and wellness of the people in Illinois through the prevention, health promotion, regulation, and the control of disease and energy. I know if people are sick of talking about COVID, but that's the latest control that we had, was trying to figure out even monkeypox, that whole thing, you know, even working for the state government, just one day they came in, you got to go home. So that's what public health controlled. Next is, I'm sorry, some of the principles. I go too far. No. Some of the principles of IDPH is prevention of disease and injury, protection of food, water, and the environment, promotion of self and healthy communities, analyzing and solving problems, the response of community health issues, addressing public health issues. I'm just trying to go over some of these. And the practice of public health itself, and recognition and unique value and needs of diverse populations. But public health, I'm gonna have Brittany kind of go over some of our main titles here. But we'll just kind of mention those. I know some of you all say you were I think I heard some epidemiologists. What are some of the other titles, Laura? I don't have access to the, or I can't see it right now.
We had some biostatistics, epi, maternal child health, community health sciences, the whole gamut.
all of those degrees that you're trying to graduate in, they align with our titles here. Brittany, you want to just say, or just say some of the titles that we have here at Public Health?
So here at Public Health, we do have over 91 job titles. Just a few that kind of align with some of the degrees that you all have. We have accountant titles, we have chemist titles, we have epidemiology titles, we have nursing titles, we have physician titles, we also have environmental health specialist titles, we have environmental engineer titles. We also have, I don't know if some of you guys have public admin degrees, but we have project management, project designer titles, research scientist titles, again, statistical research titles. Just, it's a broad array of titles that we have for public health, depending on your major and your degree or your specialization. We also have like plumbing titles, you know. Yeah, so a lot of people think that public health just focuses on just, you know, what is it? Pandemics or epidemics or whatever. But again, public health is a broad array of things, and you all know that because you guys went to school, obviously. But we here at IDPH, we just have so many different titles that kind of align with your degrees and your interests. So.
Yeah, so it's very broad,
Yeah.
very broad. And we have offices not just in Chicago and Springfield, but we cover the whole state. So it starts in Chicago and ends all the way down in Carbondale.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if everybody's from Chicago, but we have offices in Champaign, our Fairview Heights, which is right literally across from St. Louis. So a lot of people live in St. Louis, but work for IDPH down in our Metro East area. Okay. But to apply for our jobs here, and I do want to point out something, Laura, you may know, the contract for interns was signed with University of Illinois, Chicago. So you have to reach out to your internship coordinator. I'm not sure who that is, Laura. That's you?
We're coordinating with them. Yes, kind of.
Yes. So I just want to point that out. You could be working at IDPH now or when school starts. So I just want to point that out just so y'all know. So reach out to Laura. Also, to apply for any job with the state, whether it's us, DHS, Department of Children and Family Services, you have to create a state of Illinois account. There's no longer, which, you know, not too long ago, we were doing paper applications or mailing applications in. That is over. If you want to jot down that this website, that's where you would go. Once you create your account, I highly suggest that you submit your resume to a counselor. And if I have access to all their emails, I can send them more details on how to do this. But we can actually, a CMS counselor can tell you every title that you're qualified for. And once you get that title, you can actually set up job alerts for those titles only. So every time that epidemiologist job or that nursing job posts, you would get an email stating it's time to apply. Jobs are genuinely up about 10 working days. Sometimes they're extended, but usually about 2 weeks, 10 working days. But I highly suggest a lot of people do not take advantage of the counselor and set up those job alerts, because you could go 1 week looking for a job. If you're not looking at next week, because there's not certain dates jobs post, they are jobs change daily. So that's very important. If you would like to set up, if you just want to move your phone close to the screen and scan that QR code, that is how Brittany and I can actually send you job alerts for IDPH. even if you're not think you're qualified just yet and you're still trying to get your degree, it's good to get on these alerts so you can always see what's available and what we're looking for, because we're growing. That's one thing the pandemic did, was allow the governor and everyone involved with the pandemic to realize IDPH needs to be bigger than what it is. So we're at 1,100 now, but I think we're going to be a larger agency.
We are a great need.
Yeah, they had, when the pandemic happened, for example, they had to hire a lot of people out of contract because we did not have enough people to handle that. So you major in these public health, you chose a great major to be in, because this is something that I think numbers picked up. It's always needed.
It's always going to be needed. It's always going to be jobs out there for you all, you know, because public safety is very important. It affects everyone.
Yes.
So, you know, just like a nursing or a medical job, public health is just as important, and there's always going to be a need.
Yes. So I hope everybody did that. If not, you can email us. My name again is Aisha Price. That's my email located there. Brittany as well. That's her email. Reach out to us. Our phone number's on there as well. You can send our resumes if you ever need advice or not sure. Like I said, applying for a state job, you have to set up an account. If you need detailed, I can actually send you a PDF of our brochure on how to set up your account and register and get set up for job alerts and CMS counseling. Domain number. All right. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What do you think future jobs or volunteer opportunities could look like for MPH students who are interested in doing like curriculum-based work around public health? If you have any idea of what that could look like.
Well, for one, the internships that's showing right there. We just literally got that approved. But like I said before, we are growing. We hire contractors. So those opportunities are out there for you, if that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but if you're interested in working at public health, you could get on probably right when school starts in the fall to work here. Our directors really want those interns here at public health.
So, quick question. Who is it?
Tanita.
When you say curriculum based, like, are you trying to like come out and like do contractual work and teach, or what do you mean by curriculum based? I think you're on mute. Okay.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions?
I have a quick question. I'm not sure, you may have mentioned it when you were speaking before, but I was wondering if you could tell us the time frame for recruitment from application to
Great question.
hire date.
Great question. I'm very transparent about that. This is a state government job, so it hits a lot of desks before you get that call. Right now, what's going on, CMS, which stands for Central Management Services, they are the hub of hiring. So even though there's all these state agencies, every application, your account that you're setting up that I spoke of, that's through CMS. They are right now 4 months behind. So you could apply for a job in January, you know, it would be about 3 to 4 months. It was 6 months. That's down to 4 now. So
that's minimum.
Yeah. So it's one of those, and that's what the account is for. When you make that account, and let's say you apply for a position, there's a tab on there that says jobs applied for. You click on that, it's going to tell you exactly where that is. It's going to say processing, or it's going to say application received. It might say requisition closed. If it says that, you probably didn't get the job. because it's closed out. So I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you.
So we as recruiters, we like to be very transparent, but we also like to let applicants or potential applicants know to just be very patient and also keep applying. Don't just apply for one job and stop and wait. Apply for as many as you qualify for, which is why Aisha recommended the career counseling. Keep applying, because some of these degree titles are competitive. So you're competing, with other people who are also qualified just like you are. So apply for multiple positions. Just be patient, be as detailed as possible. Even though you are submitting and creating the profile and you're submitting your resume, when you're doing your application, there's a series of questions that they ask you. It's important that you're as detailed as possible and you are answering these questions as if they do not have a resume already. Because the people who are grading your application, which is CMS, they're basing it off of your answers on that application, not based off what you submitted as far as your resume and your experience. So you have to be just very detailed and transparent as possible on those questions. And again, I can't stress enough, apply for more than one. And just be patient because it is a process. It takes time. Like Aisha mentioned earlier, CMS is hiring more people. So it is moving along, but it's still a very slow process. And just trust the process and just, like I said, just keep applying.
Keep applying.
Yep.
And some jobs like nurses, they don't even have interviews. So certain positions, there's no interview for, but it's still a long process. Yes, Jaya?
Hi, yeah. I had a question. So from what I understand, even for an internship position, I believe I checked it yesterday. On the site, it said about the CMS form. So from what I understand, even for an internship position, you have to fill out the CMS.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jaya. And right now you're making me write a note. That needs to be taken down our website. That is no longer accurate. When you apply for internship, we don't have any decision on who we're hiring. You have to go through the school. So Laura, if you can direct her a little bit on that. You have to go through the school and then they tell us who is going to start at IDPH, basically, in a short.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, like we don't select the interns.
We don't select the
school.
interns.
The school does the selecting, and they send you all to us based on our needs. So if we need someone to work in environmental health that specializes in that, then the school will go through your guys' information, and whichever qualifies based on our needs, they will send you guys to us. But we don't pick you guys.
okay, good to know. All right, thank you.
And we will have a better system and share out information towards the start of the semester. Right now, I think they're still trying to figure out who's going to manage it, but we will have more concrete answers soon.
But thank you, Jaya, for telling me that I need to call communications. They need to take that link off our website.
Yeah, because I just saw that yesterday and I was looking for an internship position. And yeah, this is what they said. Yeah, so thank you for clarifying that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Any other questions for us?
I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to ask the question just so that everyone else can kind of hear your answer. So would you recommend students apply like one semester prior to their graduation?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because they'll probably be graduated by the time they hear back.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Please start applying.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you, Laura.
You heard it, okay? Because I'm constantly pushing like apply early, start early, and then I get.
Yeah, and that's with any agency, anybody. Apply early.
Yeah.
Apply early.
Because it's not just a 4-month minimum wait for just public health. That's all state agencies. It's it just takes a while, unfortunately.
Wonderful. All right. And you all will be hearing more from Aisha. She's going to be joining us for other workshops and things like that throughout the semester. So just be on the lookout.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we have the CDC, Tanisha. She's going to be presenting for you all. And she is with the Chicago Quarantine Department. Tanisha, you there? Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone again. I'm Tanisha Garth. I am a quarantine public health officer at the Chicago Quarantine Station at O'Hare Airport. And today we're going to be talking to you about the quarantine station and what we do in our role. And we're going to also be telling you about some other opportunities with CDC. Okay, oops, go back. Here we go. So the quarantine station's mission. So our mission is to protect the public health at US borders and beyond through preparing for responses to communicable diseases, enforcing public health regulations, responding to travel-related communicable diseases, supporting public health at international borders, and enhancing federal, state, territorial, and industry partnerships. So here is a brief US quarantine history. So in 1799, the first quarantine station and hospital in America was built at the port of Philadelphia after a yellow fever outbreak in 1793. In 1878, the National Quarantine Act was passed, and it shifted quarantine powers from state to federal government. In 1944, the Public Health Service Act formed the federal government's quarantine authority. In 1967, CDC took over federal quarantine functions. In the 1970s, CDC reduced the number of quarantine stations from 55 to 8 because infectious diseases were thought to be a thing of the past, which we know that did not happen. So from 2004 to 2007, the number of quarantine stations increased to 20 because of concerns about bioterrorism after the World Trade Center attack in 2001 and the worldwide spread of disease after the SARS outbreak in 2003. So who we are. So the Division of Global Migration and Quarantine, we work 24/7 to safeguard America from public health threats, both foreign and domestic. We are scientists, doctors, nurses, veterinarians, data experts, educators, communicators, and emergency responders. Our public health officers help protect more than 360 million travelers who arrive at the US ports of entries by land, air, and sea, and that's nearly 1 million per day. So what we do, we protect America's health at the US ports of entry by detecting, responding to, and helping to prevent the spread of contagious diseases into the US. Some of our responsibilities include we evaluate sick travelers arriving at the US ports of entry. We alert other passengers about potential exposures and steps they can take to protect themselves. We also restrict the importation of animals and products that may carry disease. So where we work, there are CDC quarantine stations located where there are most international travelers, and they arrive at 20 US ports of entry, and they cover all 300 plus US ports of entry. So the map you see there on the screen, and you see the yellow dots, those are our CDC quarantine stations and the jurisdictions that they cover. And if you see in the middle here in the lavender, you'll see Chicago right here where we work, and we cover Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. So our program in action, we regulate the US entry of animals and restrict certain animal products. So for example, dogs must be healthy and with limited exceptions be vaccinated against rabies. Non-human primates may only be imported for scientific, educational, or exhibition purposes after a detailed medical exam and quarantine for diseases like Ebola. Any animal products harmful to human health are prevented from entering the United States. So we also prepare for emergency responses. We collaborate with other agencies and organizations to partner on public health emergency exercises and responses. So some of the other agencies we work with is CBP, which is Customs and Border Protection. We work with TSA. We also partner with state and local health departments. So we also respond with life-saving drugs. We can send life-saving drugs on the next flight to rush essential emergency drugs for a patient with malaria, botulism, or diphtheria. So in order to see any of our open positions for the quarantine public health officer job or any CDC positions available, you would go to jobs.cdc.gov. You can type in search words such as this here, public health advisor. You can type in the category, the state, or even the city. On this site, you can also learn about the different career fields, about direct hire applications, and there's a lot of different hiring paths. So there's direct hire, veterans, military spouses, students and recent grads, individuals with disabilities, Peace Corps, AmeriCorps Vista, and of course, positions that are open to the public. There's also fellowships and internships at CDC that are available. So here is a few of our CDC fellowships and internships by eligible audience. So as you see here, the EIS, which is the Epidemic Intelligence Services. So that would be targeted towards physicians, veterinarians, nurses, and allied healthcare professionals and doctoral level scientists. Our EEP program is for medical or veterinarian students. Our LLS program is for doctoral level scientists in a laboratory related discipline. Our preventative medicine residency and fellowship is targeted towards physicians, veterinarians, nurses, and other health professionals. Our PHIFP is for doctoral or master's level scientists in public health, health services researchers, or any related discipline. Our PE fellowship is for doctoral level decision scientists, and you can major either in economics, any related health sciences, even industrial engineering, or policy analysis. The last two here we have is the ELI fellowship program, and that's for public health professionals who are tasked with developing training for their public health organization. And then we have an administrative and communication internships and externships. And these are for students enrolled in Masters of programs, earning degrees in public health, public policy, public administration, communication, business, or similar disciplines. So these are just a few of the fellowships and internship that CDC offers in general. And this could be located across all the states, but our main headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Alyssa, who is a former PHAP, to talk about our PHAP program.
Thanks, Tanisha. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about the Public Health Associate Program, or PHAP. PHAP is a 2-year program from the CDC where they place recent graduates, either if you have a bachelor's in public health or an MPH, so recent graduates, in either local or state health departments, can also be posted at an NGO or a quarantine station to kind of get that on the ground experience, public health experience. So you work directly with community members to make a public health impact. They match you based on interest. So whether it's immunizations, emergency response, maternal and child health, there's a host site out there for you. It started in 2007 as a pilot program to kind of build our public health workforce. Currently, there's usually about 2 classes of about 150 each. So at all times, there's about 300 associates throughout the United States. including Puerto Rico and our territories like Guam. So you can really be placed anywhere. It's super cool. It's a super competitive program. I think I know that in my year, I graduated last year, we had about 3,000 applicants and only, again, the class size is about 150. So it's very competitive, but super worth it because it's a great way to get your foot into the door of federal government without having to go through that long process on USA jobs. And then at the end of the 2-year program, you're able to, if you would like, convert to a non-competitive program or non-competitive position at the CDC, which just essentially means that you're not competing with the general public for a position at CDC, a permanent position. So it's a really good way, again, to just get your foot in the door of federal service if that's kind of a career goal for you. Our current application cycle opens in January of next year. It's open for about 2 weeks in the beginning of each year. So a very short time frame to get all your stuff together, but should be opening up within the next 6 months or so, early next year. So again, super awesome program. If you guys want to know a little bit more about my experience in PHAP, I was in Minneapolis for 2 years working on chronic disease prevention. And then I was able to convert to a full-time position here in Chicago at the quarantine station. So that's a little bit about me and the PHAP program.
Thank you, Alyssa. So here are a few resources on the screen where you can learn more about our DGMQ website, Quarantine Station's fact sheet. There's a couple YouTube videos here about the Quarantine Station. And there's also some links there regarding careers at CDC, the fellowship and training opportunities, and the Public Health Associate Program. If you have any questions, there's a number there you can reach out to. Also, for human resources, if you ever have any questions, there's a number for the public on the website. If you go to the careers at CDC link, and they can answer any questions you may have about any open positions you may see that are linked on the website. And for positions, they usually will give you a background information on the CDC website, but then they will link you to usajobs.gov, where you will put in your application and go on from there. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you both. Any questions for them?
I just have a quick question. And thank you for the presentation. As far as like, if you have any internships out of the Chicago office, would that also be on the same website with all the other opportunities, or is there a different place that might be?
Thank you for your question. So as far as internships here at the Chicago Quarantine Station, if there are any available, we usually will reach out to our point of contacts. If it is at UIC or like the VA program or different people we have partnerships with, to reach out to say, oh, hey, we have this internship available, non-paid work experience. Do you have any students or recent grads that, would fit and would like to participate? So that's usually how we do that. But as far as internships outside of, Chicago, like I said, it would be on that website. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question. I have a question for Alyssa. Do you have any tips for the application process for the PHAP for any interested students here?
Ooh, good question. I do. I think for my year, it was very the application process is very long, as with any federal government job. The application opens in January for 2 weeks, and you just go on USA Jobs, fill out the formal thing. And then once you pass that round, they send you a link to write like a personal statement to kind of explain why you want to be in the PHAP program and what experience you would bring and what do you hope to get out of the experience. And then once you pass that round, there's the interview round, where again, it's more just like you're talking face to face with someone from the program. And they get to know more about you and what your interests are and why you want to be in the program. And then after that, there's more waiting and you kind of find out if you got into the program. I know I got notification like August. So from January to like August is kind of this whole 3-round application process. And so I guess my first tip is make sure you know what a federal resume looks like. It's not the same as a regular resume. You can definitely go on USA Jobs and get examples, but make sure your resume is formatted in the federal government style. That's the number one kind of trick. The second one is if you do make it to the second round and you have to write your personal statement, like make it personal, like, kind of ground it in like why you love public health and why you would not only benefit from the program, but why would you be an asset to the program? So definitely make sure that your personal statement is very personal to you. They want to know you, want to know why you want to be here. And then for the interview process, I would say my tips for that is like, don't be super nervous. The PHAP people are all very welcoming. I know I was interviewed by a PHAP supervisor who used to be a PHAP himself. And so the PHAPs run deep in CDC, like we're all throughout the CDC, not only at the quarantine stations, but at headquarters as well. Anywhere you go, if you say you're in the PHAP program, they're like, oh, me too, I graduated in this year, I did this thing. And so it's not as nerve-wracking as it may seem. So definitely just, again, ground it in your interest in public health and why you want to be in the program.
Wow, great insight. Thank you so much. Awesome. Any other questions? Okay. Well, next we have Kiana from Alternatives. So I'm going to pass it on to them and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and have fun.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kiana. I'm from Alternatives. I am going to share my screen with you all. Give me one moment here. My supervisor is actually out today, so she's on vacation. One of the beautiful perks of working at Alternatives. How's everybody feeling this morning? Good. All right, so I am here to give you some information about Alternatives. I'll go ahead and run through a few key things and the departments that we have. And then if you guys have any questions, we can have questions. So we are Alternatives. We're a nonprofit in Chicago. Right now we are located on the south side. We used to be located on the north side. So for some information about us, this is our executive team. So we have Bessie, she's our executive director. We have Sonia, which is the finance director. We have Jessica, she's the operations and strategy director. And we have Monica, she's our development director. And Shaharazar, she's our program director. So this is a little history about Alternatives. Just to go into it a little bit more. So Alternatives started in 1971 and was founded by residents who wanted to provide youth with alternative ways to dropping out to school, alternatives to dropping out of school, joining gangs and other high-risk behaviors. We, of course, purchased our Uptown Youth Center to expand arts, employment, and technology programming. We are really big on trying to hire from the community that we've served. We're not only closed off to that community as far as hiring, but we do try to hire from the community that we serve. We have opened our South Side Youth Center, and we're no longer in the North Side. So this is just a few key points about us over the years. But to hop right into Alternatives. So our mission here is that we inspire young people to create a just future through practices that heal individuals, restore communities, and transform systems. Our vision is young people free. So that's free from oppression, free in their identities, and free to pursue their wildest ambitions. And then our core values are equity, liberation, collaboration, agility, and accountability. I'm going to go a bit more into our programming now. So our mission, of course, is broke down into healing individuals. We do that through group and individual counseling, youth advocate support services as well. So we have a crisis team. We also do youth leadership through restoring communities with the restorative justice institutional capacity building. And then we do have trauma-informed capacity building. And we also have the advocacy department, which is how we focus on transforming systems. Now, through the group of individual counseling and support services, we have case management and mentoring. We have a 24-hour crisis line, and we have intervention services. Through our youth leadership, we have a few programs available. So we have Girl Roll Up, Just Us, the prevention program, a Full Circle program, the Youth Advisory Committee, our Restorative Justice Summer Institute, and our Radical Healing, our peer conferences, and our peace ambassadors. And we are also participating in One Summer Chicago. So we have a lot of youth working with us over the summer right now. We are the leading restorative justice trainer for CPS since 2007. So schools with our coaches saw a 50% drop in suspensions. We're training and coaching to intensively restore services as far as like schools, homeless service programs, and our community groups. And then for trauma-informed capacity building, we do have a SEA team. So this team provides a lot of training to whether it's schools, our staff, or any other partners or any other people that we may work with. So we call them the SEA team, but it stands for System Evaluation, Enhancement, and Institutional Training. So we are a part of we are committed to a few different things through advocacy. So the Cops Out of CPS, which of course everyone knows is the citywide youth-led campaign to remove SROs from schools. The Defund CPD campaign, that campaign is to allocate some more of those funds to restorative things. So whether it's behavioral health services or youth programs or community centers. We are a part of the Final Five campaign to close the youth prisons in Illinois. We are part of the Stop Shot Spotter campaign and then Treatment Not Trauma campaign. So here is our key service areas. We are the area in blue here. So we service these areas from Rogers Parks all the way down to Chatham. We are a part of the IDHS the IDHS crisis line. So we work on the CCBYS grant. So that's saying that we receive crisis calls from youth ages 10 to 24. When I say crisis, it could be that maybe they're unhoused, maybe they are having a situation go on where we need to have a case manager or a crisis worker come out. This line is ran 24/7. Although we do only work from the hours of 9 to 5, we have an after hours answering service who works with us as well, and they patch those calls over to our crisis workers. So we have crisis workers on call around the clock. All right. As far as, give me one moment here. I want to take you guys over to our website. So that's some of the core information. Does anybody have any questions for me as of right now? Moment. There we go. I'm having so many technical difficulties today. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right, so I'll go ahead and jump into our site really quick so you guys can see some information. One moment here. All right, so this is our website, Alternatives Youth. So this is just going more over the programs that we have and the services that are available. So the behavioral health, the restorative justice and advocacy, going over some more information about us here. But what I wanted to take you guys to, give me one moment here. So if we go over to the career section, we are a very transparent organization. So if you were to be interested in maybe working with us, here's some of our benefits. Of course, we lay it all out. So we have 4 weeks of PTO. We have a week off for winter break, amongst a bunch of other things. I'm not sure why my computer's acting a little crazy. But going down here, as far as job openings, we're very transparent as far as the openings we have and the rates that we do provide. It's a salary position. And then as far as internships, we have a bunch of internships available, whether you're interested in restorative justice, maybe if you're in behavioral health and you're looking for a clinical internship, we have those available as well. And then, of course, we have data internships, substance abuse internships, and it goes on. I want to open up the floor. I really didn't have too much because we're kind of like cut and dry for the most part, I would like to say. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Kiana.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say thank you for the presentation, and also just how like I asked last time, as far as any internships, would that be on the website as well, or?
Sorry, can you repeat that for me one more time? My apologies. I'm trying to get a little vitamin D out here and the airplane is taking over.
Okay, no worries. I was just asking as far as any internships, is that also like would they contact somebody in the school like some of the other ones, or would we go directly to you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So here are alternatives. Like we have restorative justice and we have behavioral health, but most of our people are placed in schools. So normally they are not there all of the week, but if you were interested in an internship, then you would just go on the site. You'll see the information. Different ones have different schedules, I want to say. So I know I just breezed over one that had like 2 days inside of a school and then like a staggering schedule. So if you were interested in it, then you could just reach out to us. I'm going to drop my apologies. I'm going to drop the link to the website in the chat here. And then if you see an internship that you're interested in, you can reach out to careers@alternativesyouth.org, and we can definitely give you way more information because at that point, it'll go to the actual program department and they are amazing.
Thank you. And I just want to clarify a couple of things. IDPH has a contract with UIC for internships. That's not the case for all organizations. And if you are going to be doing an internship for your academic program as a part of your requirement, I would recommend reaching out to your advisor or to Michelle Rodriguez. And she is our APE person expert at the school. And you can find more about that on our school website, and I can share that link with you all as well. But if you have any specific questions about internships or the requirements, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to Michelle or your advisor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Laura because, you might have certain stipulations or we might not qualify for what you need. So definitely make sure before you, of course, you wanted to pursue it. But if you wanted some information in the meantime in between, or to take some information over with you to speak to the representatives at your school, then you could still reach out and just get the information.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so I know we have a couple minutes left. I'm going to stay in the room. Well, we're going to keep the Zoom room open until 2:30. I'm going to stop recording just really quickly.